Good morning, traders. Welcome to today's market review. This is Fred Razak at CMTrading. Today is September 28th, 2017, and today is Thursday morning. So looking at the economic events of the day, a few things coming up today, starting out with 8:35 a.m. Bank of Japan Kurodo will be speaking, and we'll look at the Japanese yen as it depreciates versus the dollar. And then at 10:15 South African time, we have Bank of England Governor Carney will be speaking, and that will surely be affected on the GBP, and we'll look at that as well. And then at 2:30 finally at GDP final quarterly results coming out in the United States. Not a big number, but something to keep an eye out as things come up. But let's see what's been happening in the market. Alrighty, so we're looking here at the Euro USD. Big correction, as you can see here, from last week. We finally broke this 180.80 level, okay, on this support level that we had up here. We finally broke it, and now we're making ourselves down to 1723. Now, I mentioned this the other day, is that if we do hit this level, you know, we have, I wouldn't call it support, but we've had a neckline before at this level. So if it does hold this line, that could be a strong possibility, but keep an eye on this as this unfolds later today. If we do break this neckline, then we could surely see ourselves going back to the 1600-ish level. Where we're going to exactly bounce, it's really hard to say because there's not real support anywhere else, you know, in these previous moves. I mean, you know, we've had this colossal move from 106 to 121-ish level. So there's not really much to, you know, fall back on, so to speak, in terms of a support level. But, you know, the correction is there. And as we wane this correction, we may bounce off of it. So this might be a really good place to actually bounce off of. So let's see how that unfolds later today. Looking at the GBP USD though, okay, with Governor Carney speaking later today, it hasn't retraced as much versus the dollar as the euro has, which is, as we mentioned before, this was, you know, the weaker currency versus the dollar, but it looks like it's getting stronger. So, you know, all in all, you know, we're trading here at 133 off of our 136 high, okay, which is also almost midpoint between this 130.25-ish level and 136-ish level. So again, you know, you're looking for some sort of a bounce at some point, okay, after this has retraced somewhat. Looking at the USD ZAR, okay, we haven't mentioned this in a while, but noteworthy to mention it today. If you see here, we're bouncing quite high against the dollar, okay. The dollar is getting much stronger versus the ZAR, as you can see here, and we haven't been at these levels for quite some time. Now, we're looking like we're breaking higher. 1352 was the high, okay, as you've seen this before, and now we're trading at 1362. Okay, if we do break this up higher, we could definitely go to the 1400. So keep an eye on this as well. Now, this is obviously in the backdrop of gold. Okay, gold finally breaking this 1293-ish level, as we see here. We mentioned this yesterday, that if it holds this line, then we could see perhaps a bounce. It didn't hold the line, and it broke further. And that's a nice almost 20-point move, 15-point move from our support level 1293. Now, you know, all in all, you know, we had a massive rally here in the gold, like we mentioned before. So to see this correction, you know, to this point, let's see how that happens. Now, I mentioned before also that it looks like it was developing a head and shoulders. This would be one shoulder, this would be the head, okay, and anticipated shoulder right here. So take a look at that as that develops. If we do bounce off of here, okay, it might be a very good short at this 1293 that we go down lower. Okay, that's the call for this morning. But keep an eye on that as that unfolds and as this, you know, progresses. Looking at the Aussie USD further down at 78. Okay, but like I mentioned, we're hitting this previous somewhat neckline. I want to call it support line, but I would call it somewhat of a neckline right here at 78. So we may bounce off of this level. So a couple of opportunities today. I would probably go with the Aussie USD versus the Euro USD if I was going to buy this right here, okay? But looking at it, it might just bounce here. It has a strong possibility, so look at that. USD Japanese yen also, the yen getting weaker versus the dollar. We're trading at 113 here as we close this off. Now, you know, we've traded as low as 108, okay, on this lower level, but we're still, you know, have way to go to quote unquote catch up to our lowest level. Okay, so all in all, it might be a position to start, shorting the dollar and going long the USD at this stage. So look at that as well as this unfolds later today. Dow Jones still hanging out with our all-time highs. Okay, we're not, we mentioned this yesterday that we're just slowly but surely, falling, tracing down a little bit, retracing a little bit, just trickling down, and then sure enough, we come through and we break out higher. Okay, now we've broken this neckline, but that's not to mention that it may not, you know, continue this trend, but just keep an eye on this, okay? Because this thing is very resilient. Now, why is it resilient? Let's look at the DAX. DAX is trading higher, broke out from our range here of 12,609, and it was a gap and go. It didn't fill the gap, okay? And it looks like it's getting stronger. So the DAX may be propelling the Dow Jones higher, okay, with the indices getting stronger. Now, we're off of our highs here in the DAX, whereas the Dow Jones were much closer to our highs. Okay, so I'd like to see some sort of, catch up on the Dow Jones, breaking out higher and maybe, taking the lead versus the DAX. So that has to be seen as well. This is Fred Razak at CM Trading. I want to wish you guys a great trading day. Thank you.